Felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
This is just the beginning.
May the force be with you.
Oh, let's go, everyone. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard here to the Sports Jedi Network. I'll be right on. Give me 2 seconds, cleaning up a little bit thing here. We're going to talk a little bit about some wrestling and some good stuff here. I cannot wait to have that conversation with you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the button when we'll get ready to start in a second. Give me 1 moment. And usually I have a co-partner here and we get ready to go, as I'm trying to get rid of the feedback that I'm hearing from my studios. And once I get the feedback out of the way, we are ready to go. And hopefully the feedback goes away and we get this situated going. A little bit of a technical difficulty, of course. And let's get ready to rumble, like they say. There we go. All right, everybody, boys and girls, what's going on? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. Sorry for that little hiccup in the beginning there. Let's talk some wrestling here, man. We got a lot to talk about here. A possible invasion angle by TNA into NXT. A lot of news and notes, as Daniel, Barrow Sports Highlight, joining us in the chat. What's going on, Danny? Hope everything is going well with you. Let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about it. NXT Homecoming was last night from Full Sail in Orlando, Florida. The ratings are in 700 plus views, 736,000 views came in. Third highest since March for the NXT brand. Good job there. Let's talk about the NXT Homecoming. I've told you this many times. I'm in Orlando, Florida. I live in Orlando, Florida. I had the privilege to attend a lot of the Full Sail, not the Full Sail, but the 2.0 era, and I wasn't really connected with the black and gold. I'm going to be totally honest. That's what I meant. I'm not a big guy. I missed out. You could call it ignorance, not watching the black and gold era, when they were on the network. I just store it a little beneath me. I'm going to be totally, frankly honest with you. I've said this time and time again. I never shy away. Boy, was that a big mistake of not watching the black and gold era. I see how everyone, when they see that, they get the nostalgic feeling, missing out. And especially when you see the wrestlers that we have today and the love, like, an Aleister Black, like an Andrade. We'll talk about him a little later in the show. Like you see the Keith Lees, the Undisputed Era, Imperium, and the list goes on and on. The Four Horsewomen, Rhea Ripley, all those ladies and men that came from the black and gold era, from the Full Sail era. And here's the funny thing about all of this. I lived 2 traffic lights away from Full Sail at that time. I was probably a mile and a half radius away from the Full Sail show. You never know what you have. You know, you take things for granted, whatever all those cliches. When it came to the black and gold for me, not until the Performance Center, when I started watching it on TV, when they were on the USA Network, I got attracted to the NXT product. I always talk about being a uber NXT fan from when I started watching Stand and Deliver, the year where they believe is Raquel Rodriguez, with Raquel and Raquel Gonzalez, excuse me, and Dakota Kai lost those NXT tag titles right over to Toxic Attraction, and of course from there on, when at that time Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, beat Braun Breaker for the NXT World Title, and that Stand and Deliver. That's when I started investing myself in NXT. I said, you know what? I believe it was Saturday early. I had didn't have nothing to do that time. There was no baseball, whatever the case. I forget the case. And I watched it. I had an open mind and watched it, and I became hooked on NXT. So to me, the black and gold era doesn't have a big place in my heart. I'm more of the 2.0 to this current NXT brand. But watching all those different talent come back to NXT, it's a reliving of the past, a celebration of the black and gold era. Seeing all that off, I like the fact we saw Shawn Michaels, Triple H in the middle of the center of the ring, having that conversation. Triple H thanking the fans, especially in a week for NXT or WWE as a company in general to have such a negative taste or bad taste in people's mouth going to Saudi Arabia. Look, if it is what it is, they're going to Saudi Arabia regardless of the fact if we like it or not. It's just what it is. I like the fact that he thanked the fans. Full Sail doesn't bring in a lot of folks like the Performance Center. I think the Performance Center holds a little more. Get close to 5, capacity 300 to 500 folks. I believe the Full Sail is around 250 to 300. Regardless, it looked great on TV. I like the fact that you had that there. You had Steven Regal or William Regal come out. Did his famous War Games. I thought we were going to get a WWE NXT War Games, or at least something along the lines. He was going to, because you're in the middle of September already. With WrestlePalooza around the corner, they're going away to Perth, Australia. The John Cena tour, it could get lost in the sauce for a build for Survivor Series in San Diego. Why not plant the seed? Why not start something now and start building? You have weeks to build into it. I understand you still have No Mercy. I believe you're still going to have Halloween Havoc, and then you want to plant those seeds where you start getting some NXT pride, especially what's going to has laid out or transpired through the thread of NXT last night. I thought they were going to be a WWE main roster, spark a little bit of an interest of a War Games with NXT. I think everybody wants to see that. I think if the fans really will love to see a callback. You're doing all these callbacks here with black and gold and all that stuff, and you're especially with all the rumors of WrestleMania 43 is going to be like a WrestleMania nostalgia. Bringing back former wrestlers to dream matches, fantasy, and you wanted to tease that. Why didn't you tease, or start building a callback, especially to that group? To me, some may say one of the greatest Survivor Series War Game. Back in the day, Survivor Series was when NXT brand and versus Raw, SmackDown. You have that there, especially with TNA and so forth. But let's see if they just teased it. They threw that nugget, a little bit chum out there. I like that. Then you have Charlotte come out. Charlotte, listen, when you think of her career in NXT, her and the 4 Horsewomen, she mentioned the 4 Horsewomen before everyone gets their panties in a bunch. She didn't mention Sasha Banks. She said the 4 Horsewomen. She named all 4 Horsewomen. I mean, if you're watching last night NXT brand, you know who the Horsewoman is. You know already. And if you're not, you're going to research it. You're going to Google it. You're going to know. You don't need to be under a rock to know that you mentioned all the 4 women, which is Bayley, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Nikki and Charlotte Flair. You don't need to have them named individually. I like that. I like that there was a callback to Amber Moon. Great job there, phenomenal. But here's the one thing that no one picked up on, and I haven't heard any outlets or anyone speak about it on any shows. Joe Henry is in the introduction video of NXT. I like that they did a callback to the old black and gold introduction, but Joe Henry was in the opening promo, the opening video of the intro video of the NXT. Now we're gonna find out next week when they do the introduction for NXT. You know, next week when they go back to their normal $1 Million from Now song, if Joe Henry comes out. I noticed that. I picked up on it. Ooh, Joe Henry. Also, it kind of intimated that Joe Henry's part of the NXT roster. Interesting. A lot of different things happen in the NXT brand night site, but the one thing that sparked the most controversy was the Grayson Waller effect. Now, the Grayson Waller effect, Grayson Waller, I've said this many times again, and I'll continue to say it. Grayson Waller is being underutilized on the WWE main roster. This man has the gift of gab. He is the type of heel with his work on the microphone, and he's not a terrible in-ring competitor. People tend to judge a book by its cover when it comes to Grayson Waller. You have to see his whole body of work, especially in 2025 when everyone complains about the heel not getting over, or the heel are too likable. Are they really heel? Are they really drawing nuclear heat? You don't need to be a profanity-laced heel to get to be, oh, he's such a heel. Listen, Maxwell Jacob Freeman is very talented. He is one of those generational talent. I give it to you. But listen, compare, and I'm not trying, and if people say you're comparing them, maybe I am comparing them. Grayson Waller doesn't need profanity for you to dislike him or get him or get you to that point to just don't naturally like the guy. And that's what you want from a heel, especially in the WWE when they're working with all this Netflix, PG, all these different things, with all these different platforms, being safe for the ears, but he could garner that heat. And it's a shame that the WWE main roster don't know what to do with the guy. You know, fumbling with Austin Theory, trying to give the rub on Austin Theory to have that microphone skills. That seems, I don't know what that went, where Austin Theory, is he injured? Is he frustrated? He needed some time off, whatever the case is. But Grayson Waller now with New Day, he's bigger, in my opinion, than the New Day right now. New Day is decorative tag team champions. Do they want to add him as a third Big G? I see what they're trying to do with that there. I don't think Big E is returning to anytime soon as an in-ring competitor. So could we let that ship sail? Could Grayson Waller, can we allow to take the training wheels off of Grayson Waller and let him be the heel and let him cook? Let him do things on the microphone to get that heat. Boy, did he garner the heat. We had the Grayson Waller effect where pretty much he had Ricky Saints, he had Oba Femi. He, by the way, cooked Ricky Saints with his own words without being profanity laced. He didn't have to go there. He just still knew how to cook them. Oba Femi, you know, he made a great line of Oba Femi, Oba Femi, like overrated. It was just great with Waller, the way he just throws those singers out in this time of age where, again, not to sound like a redundant broken record, he just cooked them. Out comes Trick Williams. Long story short, he made a world title match, title for title, between Oba Femi's NXT World Title and Trick Williams TNA World Title, where it set the wrestling world on fire. TNA talent quickly went to social media. They displayed their anger, their dislike towards that, because I get what they're going at. What makes Grayson Waller have the authority to make a world title match, title for title, with the TNA world title? He's a talent. He is a talent on Raw. He comes to the NXT, Ava signs off of it, and I can see where TNA talent goes back to Mr. Carlos Silva, who is the most classiest man in professional wrestling. And executive office-wise, say what you say, call me a shill, a TNA shill. I don't have no problem if you want to call me a TNA shill. I don't give a crap. That man, I personally met him at the softball game. I've interviewed him on our channel. That man is the classiest man in professional wrestling. All in all, that guy, the way he works with his talent behind the scenes, I seen him myself from the UBS arena, the way he walked around that whole arena, talking to every talent, from cameraman, from the boom mic, from everyone in the attendance. That man is class. So I hate that he's put in this bad position, but the TNA talent immediately went to social media. One of the main one was Smoose, title for title, winner takes all. Is that even possible? He tweeted, doesn't Carlos Silva have to approve this decision? This is very frustrating. We'll be watching this match very closely. He has unfinished business with both Oba and Trick Williams. Moose and Trick Williams, great match there. We saw that in Emergence, also Oba Femi and Moose at Madison Square Garden was a great one. Eddie Edwards. Funny how NXT thinks he could just offer up our own championship in a title for title match, acting like TNA has no say in this matter. You know, the truth is we're letting this type of crap too long. Time for a change. Steve Macklin, who is one of those veterans. You know, NXT remembers me. I don't forget. I don't forget. Lines keep crossed, and now you have to answer to him. I would love to see Steve Macklin back in NXT, holding the line with that international title. It's an international title. He could have a match. Why not? He has defended it on the independent scene, and I would love to see Steve Macklin on NXT TV. The King, Frankie Kazarian. Remember this? I was the first ever contacted TNA male talent to appear in NXT, and I am the TNA original. I will protect the kingdom that I built violently and if necessary. Look, we all know Frankie Kazarian has teased he wants a match. It's in the works, put it that way. You saw the interview here on our channel as well. We had the honor and privilege to speak with Frankie Kazarian as well. Interview him here. He wants a match with AJ Styles. Great way of opening that door there. Of course, our champion, nuestro campeón, our man. You know, everyone knows that we are a uber Mike Santana fan. Me and Chris, that's our guy. We know he will be your TNA now NXT world champion. He says, yeah, let's keep it real with everyone. I'm pretty sick and tired of all the NXT. WWE NXT has control over TNA and can do what they want. That's bullshit. I think it's about time we put the rest and something about it. Mike Santana, when Mike Santana gets going, that's the Bronx in him. That's the Boricua caliente. That's the heat on it. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for you, Mike. Wave that shit like he says. Let's go. Mike Santana is going to be double champion. Book it. I've said this about a week ago. About a week ago. About a month ago. I would when Mike Santana came out in that balcony when they were on Lowell, Massachusetts. I said, you know what? I wouldn't mind Mike Santana taking out Oba Femi. And be honest with you, they should have. And I'm gonna stick with what I said the first time. They should have had main eventing for No Mercy. It should have been Mike Santana versus Oba Femi for the NXT World Title. Then the winner, which would have been Mike Santana, should have captured NXT Gold going into Bound for Glory to take on Trick Williams for title versus title. I think that would have made sense. I said that if you look at my videos, I've said that when they were in Lowell, Massachusetts, they should have a title for title, but Oba Femi should lose his title to a Mike Santana. It would not diminish Oba Femi to lose to a veteran who is hot right now in Mike Santana. That's the route. No disrespect to Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints is one of those top talented wrestlers. I know that you just brought him over and you want to bring in Rick and build a Ricky Saints. I got it. I appreciate, I don't want to diminish what Ricky Saints has done in his NXT run, but he just got here a couple months. This storyline is right now going across two wrestling companies where it's catching fire. It's got the wrestling world buzz. I don't think Ricky Saints Oba Femi alone was going to capture that buzz and there's no disrespect to these two gentlemen, was going to bring that buzz that is currently laid out on the table. I would have loved them to go in that direction. They're not going in that direction. Doesn't mean it's not going to be bad. I always said this. You wouldn't told me Obafemi Mike Santana in South Florida, along with Lola Vice taking on JC Jane. The amount of Latinos, the amount of Hispanic that live in that South Florida area. And I know WWE is not worried about ticket sales. They're selling out no matter what. They like, they're in that high period where you could put two hamsters on a wheel and just go in circles. And if it's WWE, people are gonna go crazy to go buy it, because have to be their place right now. That's the place I have to be. That's the event we have to be there. But you don't tell me how much of a Raw that would have been of the crowd, especially now that it's Hispanic Heritage Month that we're going into. You just think about that, where you would have heard the Raws. There would have been so many flag wavers, from the Cuban community, the Puerto Rican community, the Latin community in South Florida. That place would have been buzzing. It's going to be no disrespect. No Mercy is going to be phenomenally full. But I think there would have been a special electricity in the air where you would have probably walked out with two Latin stars winning world titles. I mean, my goodness, talk about wow for making history, trailblazing, all that good stuff. Because Mike Santana would have been the first TNA world champion to capture, or outside champion to capture WWE gold. Joe Henry couldn't do it. Mike would have. And it still could happen. Mike is still going to probably break and make history. I digress. I like the fact that they're teasing this invasion angle. Do you like the invasion angle? Let's see how it's done. Look, they've been teasing it on TNA Impact with Eric Young. Eric Young is talking about cleansing TNA. Getting rid of the stuff that is not TNA. He started with his own Northern Armory. He started with his own too, with Icarus and Williams, where I'm pretty sure they have a match this Thursday, Icarus versus Eric Young, because he got rid of Travis Williams. He power drived him twice. So Eric Young is starting to cleanse. All in all, his main goal is cleansing Joe Henry. Notice how Joe Henry was in the building. He had a cameo with Bobby Roode. All this TNA talk, all this invasion or not happy, sitting with him, not a peep from Joe Henry. He's too busy coming out of refrigerators and appliances. He's the new appliance direct man. If you're in Central Florida, you know who we're talking about. He's a big guy who does commercials, sells appliances, secondhand or scratch and dent type of appliances. The appliance king. He's applying, that's what he's doing, coming out of appliances. I can see Eric Young cleansing him. This is going to be the most hottest situation that WWE is going to have. You know what they're doing? They're preparing the wrestling world. When WWE goes to WrestleMania 43 overseas, and everyone's complaining, and everyone like Dave LaGreca on not 24-hour pro wrestling show, Busted Open, and Bully Ray telling Tony Khan to counter program and do a show against WrestleMania. WWE is preparing us for a WrestlePalooza, then after WrestleMania, where they're going to have TNA, NXT, AAA Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Noah, because they did tease Pro Wrestling Noah, and other wrestling companies. Because remember, AAA just wrestling, the WWE ID Evolve, whatever the case is, to put on a wrestling program, a show on that WrestleMania weekend in the United States. Everyone wants to run to Tony Khan. Oh, Tony Khan should do it. WWE is not. They're not dumb. They're not the worldwide leader for no reason. They're not the end all be all of top end sports entertainment. You have Stand and Deliver on Saturday night, and you're going to have Sunday night. You're going to have a WrestlePalooza. You're going to have some kind of card when it's going to bring all these different companies together under the WWE umbrella. Maybe you might get a GCW Josh Barnett Bloodsport part of that. I don't know. a couple of the Bloodsport matches featured on the big stage. You don't think Josh Barnett will love to have a arena of 17,000 plus for that WrestlePalooza with a couple of Bloodsport matches, maybe 3, 2? We wouldn't think that man will love that, him himself taking on someone? Of course not. Of course he'll love that. I liked where I heard from Sam Roberts had a great idea, or a friend of his tweeted him at the Spear. You could run the show. You could show WrestleMania at the Spear, and then when the WrestleMania concludes, go into the live event. You could have stand and deliver is going to happen Saturday. I don't know. I don't see the NXT brand going overseas to Saudi Arabia. That'll be a great experience for the NXT kids to travel and so forth. I don't think they will. I think they'll do the stand and deliver in the States. New Orleans should be he said the Spear, Las Vegas. I think New Orleans will be the better of the two, because it won't be a massive undertaking to send the NXT talent, the LFG talent, the Evolve talent, the WID talent, the TNA talent. If they are participating in this, the only one you're gonna worry about is the Raw Wrestling Noah. But I don't know how. And you also have Marigold. You could even include Marigold. You really have a Wrestling Palooza. Listen to all those your AAA Mexico as well. I don't want to leave them out. You have major companies that you could do a WrestlePalooza night 2, or even if you want to not do stand and deliver, you could still do a WrestlePalooza 2-night event after WrestleMania. The WrestleMania is in Saudi, but you have WrestlePalooza in the United States. You could still have all the WrestleCons piggyback. You can have your WWE World with the Stars of Tomorrow, and you don't have to overprice the event. Like, the meet and greets don't have to be $350 for 5 seconds to take a picture with your faves. You could do something reasonable for the fans where they're going to meet the Evolve. They're going to meet the future stars at that time of the Evolve or the LFG. Maybe, who knows, and so forth. Or the NXT brand, whoever is right now on top of the NXT brand at 2027. You could have the best of both worlds all under the WWE umbrella. You don't even have to involve, right? Listen, All Elite Wrestling has their own issues. They have to worry about getting out of 900-seat arenas and getting their fan back to even watch their product, let alone worry about their streaming deal in 2027 when it's over, where they're going to go. They got enough problems on their plate to worry about counter programming on a WWE NXT, a WWE WrestleMania in Saudi, and then go up against an NXT. They got their own issues. They got their own fish to fry. He doesn't need that right now. WWE has that market. They have that ability. They should go and attack. They should go and provide that for the wrestling fans. Don't have to be overpriced. You still want to keep the fan base appeased. You have to, especially after Mark Shapiro's insensitive comments about not wanting the families. They want the more first class, white collar fan base, which it's only going to be a fast and a fade, because wrestling goes from ups and downs, just like high tides. You have your high tides and low tides. You have your good times and your down times. I'm afraid when the low times go down, they're going to blame Triple H for when the time goes low. And what does these corporations do? They cut, they remove. Could we see Triple H get removed from head of creative? No one is immortal. I hate to say that, and I hate to. And what one way of doing it? Book better shows. And this brings me to my next point. My next point, why I bought Triple H and I bought that up, is that I think Triple H, when it comes to main event, star power, he gets it. Wrestling 101. But what he don't get, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I don't think he knows, or I don't know if they allow him to book the mid-card properly. We've seen a trend, and I've noticed this for ever since The Rock has been put on the board of directors. And I'm not blaming The Rock. I'm just using it as a reference point. Ever since they pivot and they changed the WrestleMania direction, when the Cody Crybabies, the whole company's creative and their way of pushing things have changed to where we are currently right now, where a lot of people are frustrated, pissed off, or whatever the case you want to call it. His direction with the mid card for men and women have been really lacking. It's been before he was building something strong where Gunther was your intercontinental champion. You know, many people said he bought the prestige to the intercontinental title. I could say it could even go a little bit back further. Prior to Ricochet dropping the intercontinental title, I thought Ricochet did a pretty decent job with the intercontinental title. As much as Ricochet gets a lot of negative slings and arrows, and that's another conversation if it's his own doing or not, I thought his intercontinental title was decent, was good. Him dropping and losing it, it's when I think the mid-card title started flourishing strong, and he was the forefront of it. Also, the United States title. Now, Austin Theory, a lot of people wanted to dislike him because he was kind of felt he was associated as a handpicked force fed of McMahon. I could get when you didn't like him. The United States title needed some more work. I didn't think Bobby Lashley is Intercontinental United States champion. Some people like Bobby, some people don't. To me, I think Bobby is nothing but chewing on aluminum foil. I'm sorry, I hate to say that. There's no charisma, there's no enthusiasm with Bobby Lashley. That's why, you know, I don't know. He's a monster physique guy, but other than that, to me, I rather give me. You know what? I hate to say this, and I'm not a big fan of him. Sami Zayn is way more entertaining as a sports entertainer wrestler than Bobby Lashley. And it's not taking shots because he's not with the WWE. When he was world champion, it just something wasn't there. My point, let me stay on track when it comes to talking about the mid-card titles. I don't think he has booked it well. Yeah, Sami Zayn's Intercontinental title run when he beat Gunther, that was a nice, remember that feeling, that storyline that everyone got involved, was excited. Chad Gable, so many people wanted Chad Gable to win that title because they told a story. They main evented. They gave you a nice storyline with Gable, Gunther, Sami Zayn, into Braun Breaker. There was a nice storytelling throughout week to week episodic television. Now, people don't get invested, or the creative has been lackluster. Like, okay, I know everyone goes back to the Nakamura United States title run when and I've said it when we were doing the watch alongs. LA Knight is going to take that title over Nakamura because they're going overseas. Sometimes sometimes they book to their venues or the territory that they're going to visit. I thought LA Knight was a higher international draw than Shinsuke. That's why LA Knight took that title. I get why Andrade gets frustrated because this is all that has to do with Andrade as well. We're jumping into another topic, a little bit over the place here. Apologize. Look, Andrade came. Let's talk about Andrade, and I'm going to get to why he might be frustrated. Andrade comes in. This is why I think they don't book the mid-card titles correctly. Andrade comes in. He comes in with a lot of fair popping circumstances. He has a hell of a best of 7 with Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is another one who should be frustrated, but this is where the mid-card titles are not showcased correctly. But here's the thing, wrestling fans. Not everyone in the mid-card title could hold the title. You complain if there's too many titles, and you can't hot potato the world title either. This is a dilemma where I can see why creative gets a little stale, stagnant, or hesitant to pull the trigger, because you can't hot potato a world title run. And then when he loses, he deserves better. Case and then the Nakamura, the LA Knight. Andrade has the great best of 7 with Carmelo Hayes. No one came out of that looking stronger. Both men, creatively wise, took a step back. They say, oh, let's throw them in the tag team. People could say lazy booking. You have a point. They didn't do nothing as a singles. Let's put him with the Miz. Let's bring him with Rey Fenix. Let them tag, and we'll tend to forget that they had this great best of 7 because now they're in a tag team and now they pivot. They went a different direction. I understand where both talent, especially Andrade, could be frustrated, and I could understand that. But also, you have a guy who's rising in the rankings in a Jacob Fatu, where everybody's rushing to put a title on Jacob. Oh, he needs the title. He needs the title. When you're a champion, you have to lose those titles eventually. Eventually, someone's going to beat you. You can't have a title reigns like a Roman Reigns. People don't want to see that long reign title reigns, but also you have to keep your. It's a tough situation because you want to appease a bunch of people who will argue that it is partly sunny outside, but it's not. But it's cloudy. There's so many contrarians out there. It's a tough one. If Solo Sikoa beats Jacob Fatu, no one liked the solo run. If Jacob Fatu has to win the title, but someone has to beat him for that title, storyline wise. LA Knight, it was a transitional. Shinsuke Nakamura was transitional. See, that's the issue. People start complaining and looking back. Oh, this was booked terrible. That title run meant nothing. That's the issue. That's the problem when it comes to the wrestling business. Too many people have an opinion where the companies they don't know which direction to go. That's why they had to pivot. That's why they got to truck through, not pivot, truck through. Go with their creative and let's see, like it or don't like it. I think personally, in 2024 to 2025, personally, I still stand by it. And until this day, and nothing's gonna change. I'm gonna go to my grave, and nothing's gonna change. I don't have a time machine. It should have been Rock and Roman. It should have been Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 40 at Philadelphia. Cody should have waited one more. Then he should have not won the Rumble. Punk got hurt. They called it audible. And Cody should have not pointed at Roman Reigns when he won that Royal Rumble. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. That's my hot take. I've said it and I said it again, and I'll still say it until my grave. If Cody was going to win your Royal Rumble, he should have just pointed. He should have just pointed straight at the sign, and then they'll go from there. They could have built Rollins and Cody Rhodes again, but he pointed at Roman, and they went that direction. Then you had a guy, of course, we all know the history. The guy goes on Busted Open to cry. The same guy that cries that says he does F tribalism is telling the rival company to counter program and take away WrestleMania, whatever the case is. It leads me to Andrade. I personally think Andrade needs a mental health break. I think he needs a break away from wrestling. I think no one asked. According to reports from Fightful, John Alba, wellness policy failure. He ghosted the calls. He ghosted WWE. He went for a SmackDown taping, was escorted out of the building by security for violating a wellness policy. What's the wellness policy? Don't know. Everyone thinks it's steroids. There's so many languages in that wellness policy. It could be anything. It could be conduct, attitude. He have had an issue in the past of laying his hands on fellow co-workers. The Sammy Guevara issue in AEW. Could there be that there was a situation where he just didn't like a comment that was told to him or something, and he slapped someone and they send him home? That's a violation of wellness. Probably the well-being of another fellow employee, a fellow worker. We don't know. We don't know the truth. This is all speculatorial. But from looking on the outside, I don't know Manny, aka Andrade. I don't know him. But his ex-wife made it public that they went through a divorce. Oh, no, that's not the reason. How do you know? How do you know how divorce affects people? The guy was unhappy in All Elite Wrestling, right? Because he wanted to be closer to his wife. He wanted to be there for his wife, support with his wife, see his wife more. Their work schedules were so separate. many times. What's going on, Ruben? Yes, I can't wait for that invasion as well, Ruben. So many times they they want to be close to their wife. So many times Charlotte has said that her husband Manny is her best friend. She said it many times in different interviews before the divorce. Oh, he's my best friend, my guy I go to. I speak to him a lot. We're there for each other, all that good stuff. She probably wanted him on the road with him. Then she has this. Then he returns to the company. They gracefully let him out of All Elite Wrestling. He wasn't happy there. They weren't on the TV. He says, "Can I work elsewhere?" They allowed him to go elsewhere where they don't really grant their release to their wrestlers. Khan let him go. I know Ric Flair's part of the TNA, the NXT, the AEW roster. I'm still part of it. Maybe some back and forth, and for the respect and love for Ric Flair, Khan lets him go to go be with his Ric Flair's daughter, his wife. Good job. He goes back to the WWE, shows up at the Rumble. And then a couple weeks, I believe, I'm not mistaken, months later, I believe his wife gets injured. Charlotte goes to that devastating knee injury. She rehabs the hell out of herself to try to get back, work her ass off. During that time, away from the television, the limelight and we find out that she's divorced. She gets divorced from Andrade, which is none of our business. I'm going to be first and foremost to know what happened, why. It's none of our business. We first want to say that it's none of our business, but no one's ever asked how that affect him. How did it affect him? Everyone sees Charlotte, going on whatever that talk show, talking about Ashley Flair, talking about her divorce and all that different things, and she was crying, and that led to the Tiffany Stratton famous promo that she took liberties attacking her. We all know about that. And that's, where Triple H on Unreal tells her to go apologize and all that good stuff. But all that time, no one's talked about, hey, Andrade, how's he feeling? Working in the same brand, let alone the same company, the same brand with his ex-wife. Regardless of what happens, you still have feelings for another. You still have love for that other person. Regardless if you're not together, whatever time they were together, you wake up with each other, next to each other, you share meals, you share all different emotions, and then you're not no longer together. You agree or disagree, but then you work together, and then you don't go to her. Andrade is frustrated creatively. He's used to going to his wife and having a conversation. Hey, I don't like this. Now he don't. That door is closed. To me, that's why I think he needed a mental break. He needed a mental break away from the WWE. He just needed to leave. I don't blame him. Now, how he got there, that's another issue. We don't know. We're not privileged. We don't have the privilege. We don't know there's three versions: the WWE version, Andrade's version, and the truth. Whatever the truth is, at the end of the day, I think it's a healthy separation for Andrade not to be in the WWE. Now, if he goes to CMLL, great. If he goes to Elite Wrestling, as long as he's working and just works, I think it'll work for the kid. I think the guy is uber talented. I know people take shot that he can't cut a promo in English, so forth. Look, Stephanie Vicaire. And it doesn't help that she's also a very beautiful woman where people want to see her. And, let's face it, this is a visual world. People tend to judge by their visuals, and she checks that box over on Andrade. But still, Andrade's a hell of a worker. He's well chiseled. He's in well shape. He's a handsome man, all that good stuff, whatever the case you want to call for him. But then the promos, he doesn't talk to you into the building because of the language barrier. Stephanie, it's easier for a woman to talk to you into a building without talking. Her physique, her looks could enchant you into the building, where a male has to go that extra step. Business, the worst disservice they could have done. They should have pledged Selena Vega. I understand they were trying to have Selena Vega do her own path with the, but she still was part of the LWO. I think they could have pulled her away, turn her heel against, and join Andrade, kind of run a facet. Especially after Alexa Lopez didn't really hit with Santo Escobar. I think Selena could have. And maybe there was too much redundant, or maybe the same type of deal at that time in the WWE creative, and they didn't want to go Selena and Andrade. I could see where they didn't go that route. I could see it, but they should have. Selena would have been that mouthpiece, would have gotten Andrade over. But let's face it, even if they would have put Andrade with Selena Vega, Andrade was not going to be in the world title picture. He wasn't. It's still Cody. It's still Roman. It's still, we didn't even know Cena was returning for that. Randy Orton. They're too top heavy, where Andrade wasn't going to really make a dent. I think he would have been staying in the same boat. I think he would have been stuck in the same position that we are now. And then, to make the long story short, it's best for him to just cut the ties, move on to CMLL. If he's going to CMLL, TNA would be a great opportunity for him. I don't know if that's going to happen. You're telling me Andrade shows up the matches he could have with Nick Nemeth, with Mike Santana, with Frankie Kazarian, with Eddie Edwards, with Moose. There's so many great matchups that Andrade, with Leon Slater. Just think of all the names that I just, with Zachary Wentz. There are so many great names that Andrade could have great matchups with there. Would like him to go to TNA. All Elite Wrestling, the first month he'll get a massive pop. He will get a massive pop for the TNA returning hero, returning home. But here's the thing. They're already teasing Jack Perry to return. You bring in Andrade, kind of going to get lost in the shuffle. Off to Collision he goes, and he's going to get back to the same. Try something different. My point is for him, for Andrade, try something different. First, take some time away and clear your space. Clear your head. Fall back in love with Lucha Libre. That's all I'm saying. Fall back in love. You're going to fall back in love with Lucha Libre, with wrestling. Fall back in love with wrestling. Don't need another female right now. Get yourself situated, in my opinion. Easy for me to say, but I'm not in his shoes. But I kind of walked almost a similar path. Almost. Reinvent yourself. Fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with your wrestling, your passion, your love, and then everything will fall into place. That's all I got to say when it comes to Andrade there. We're rooting for him. Whatever happens to him, let's go. Yeah, and let's go talk about that TNA one more time. As we know, and we got Lee James. What's going on, man? What's up? AJ Styles going to be part of this invasion. Absolutely. AJ Styles will be part of this invasion. I think AJ Styles was mentioned by Frankie Kazarian on this channel when I happened to interview him, talking about look, we're not going to sugarcoat it. We are in talks to have a match against each other. We'll love to see those two Mount Rushmores of TNA wrestling go at it one-on-one on there. We got another one. Andrade joins the Aztec Warriors in the faction. Ruben, I like it because you could still have Andrade with the Aztec Warriors show up in AAA wrestling and still keep that. He gracefully say thank you to the WWE. I think, he got fired for a Weller's policy. He probably got, again, it's whatever happened, it happened. I think TNA will be a nice opportunity. Maybe I might be a TNA shill. Would love to see him in TNA personally. Again, we mentioned those names there. Got call back to Chavo to be his manager in TNA. Ooh, I don't know if he wants to do that. I don't know if they could afford Chavo Guerrero. I don't know if they could afford TNA could afford it, but man, Andrade versus Leon Slater or Mike Santana. Absolutely. There's so many great names out there that Andrade can have, and it'll be fresh, new matchup. Even if Andrade goes in against, I believe, Octagon in a TNA ring, TNA will benefit from it, especially at the end of the year. In December, TNA is returning to El Paso. TNA is going back to El Paso to finish the year in December. What a way to bring Andrade. I know he's not from Texas, but Laredo kid, Octagon. There is a big lucha contingency in South Texas. You're close to the border of Mexico. Lucha Libre runs strongly in those territories. Will be a phenomenal opportunity for Andrade to return or make his TNA debut there. Will be great if he were to go to TNA. I'm not. There is no insights. There is no. This is just me wishful thinking. But the most important thing is if Andrade is ready to return, if he clears his head and he's in the right place and in love with wrestling. There is a lot of great stuff there. I don't know if Andrade will be allowed in TNA. The way he left, he didn't leave in a bad term. He said, "Thank you, WWE. It's better." I'll tell you one thing. He left better this time than he left his first time around. If you remember his tweet, back in when he first left the WWE his first time around, he told him to F off. This time he wrote handwritten a note, "Thank you. Thank you, WWE." So he kind of wanted this separation. It's better for him. And everyone's gonna say, no, it wasn't because of Charlotte. It's not directly because of Charlotte. He just needs to get away from his former wife, his former best friend, or maybe they're still friends, but he can't see her around being courted by other men, or she's gonna move on and fall in love, but it might bother him. Listen, as a male, it does bother seeing if you see a former, someone your wife or an ex-wife or an ex, seeing with someone, it's male. It's a male thing. It's a male ego. It might bother him, or even if it's not, even if the person is not courting or trying to romance his ex, your mind as a male will play tricks on you. Say, yeah, I think he's trying to get into my ex-wife's pants. You have that. We're all human. We all get that. There's one of the 7 deadly sins, a little jealousy. That's going to be there. That's a human emotion. No matter how much of a professional you are, that's still, you can't tell us that's not going to be a factor. So I think at this space, he needed to leave out of the WWE because he just needed Motor City Machine Guns versus the Hardys. Let's go. I asked this question here: who represents who there? Because it feels like Motor City would go back to TNA, and the Hardys would go with WWE. I mean, boy, how the time changes there. Dude, I wish they could put the Guns on NXT and get them more TV time somewhere. You know what? It's up to Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Do they feel that's a diminish on them to work with the TNA NXT talent? It's up to the Machine Guns. I would love the Machine Guns to be on NXT. You telling Machine Guns show up there, they'll first and foremost they'll get a raw of the crowd. They'll go bananas in the Performance Center for them. But here's the one thing: once they show up on that TV screen, they're the best tag team there. How are you going to make it where do you really believe Dark State could really defend their titles against a Motor City Machine Guns or Hank and Tank? That's why they protect and they won't allow them to go there, or they won't repackage them or send them down there to go work. We'd love to see the Motor City and NXT, but damn, as soon as they step into the Performance Center, they're the best tag teams there. No one could beat them. No one's going to beat them. And you can't make it, unless they're going to have 4-on-2 and the referee's got to be totally Stevie Wonder in the ring. That's the only way I could see Dark State beating a Motor City Machine Guns, because it's a tough one there. Can we repackage Andrade as Unseen Alma in the mask? You know what? They was talking about him being at repackaging in a CMLL, his first gimmick in CMLL for Andrade. I don't know. Listen, I'm a little worried about Santo Escobar, because it was kind of weird, because Santo Escobar became the Andrade while Andrade was in AEW. I could even say he was a little bit of a Timo Andrade a little, because we had Electra Lopez who was playing the role of Selena, and she was La Madrina, and then they all happened to be on the main roster. They felt like they didn't want to push all these wrestlers they should have had feuds with each other. They should have been best of 7. Carmelo, Santo, Andrade. They should have done something, but they felt like it was a redundant act. And to the point where now Santo Escobar is not even doing anything either. Like, Santo is a hell of a wrestler. I seen him in the 2.0 with, he's a really good. He's good, and he commands the English language much more clear and better than Andrade. No disrespect to Andrade. Santo speaks very good English. I'm surprised that Santo is not getting this push here. Where even if he's not even in Worlds Collide in the AAA wrestling, I didn't see I love Ethan Page. Heather's a big Ethan Page fan as well, but who should be going for the Latin American title if they're really doing this WWE taking some of that AAA titles like they're doing in NXT? It should be Andrade. It should be the Latin American. Should be going after the Latin American Championship if he's not going to go after Dirty Dom now with the Mega Champion, which looks like it's going to be Penta. What happens to Andrade? What's going on with Santo? I don't want to see where we had to release some, farewell future endeavors for Santo Escobar, because I think that's a mistake. I think he's uber talented, and I don't want him to fall into that. WWE don't know what to do with the land superstars. Well, book the mid-card titles better. Now I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of mid-card titles now. And it's not just the United States and the Intercontinental. You've got now the Latin American I hate to say it, you're gonna have to incorporate it with the part of the NXT, the WWE brand now, because they're under the umbrella. You have the Latin American champion, you have also the Mega Champion. That's two more. And I'm sorry, the Mega Champion is their main heavyweight title. I get it, but it's kind of a launching pad before the world heavyweight, before the Undisputed and the world heavyweight title. That's just my opinion. That's just my thought. You've got those other titles where and again, this is a rare opportunity for Dominic to hold both titles. Everyone wants AJ Styles to win the Intercontinental title, rightfully so. But this is an opportunity to have other wrestlers that you're not going to be using on your main roster to go to AAA and help get AAA over. Because AAA under the WWE umbrella, and I'm going to steal this from JD from New York. I gave him credit. It feels like a NXT Mexico takeover. And he's right. These World Collides are becoming NXT takeovers, Mexico takeover. Because you don't really see all the other real strong Mexican talent that they have in AAA featured. You see a lot of WWE wrestlers. And let's face it, if they weren't there, I don't think a lot of us will be watching the AAA brand. If you don't have a Finn, if you don't have certain wrestlers there, I don't think Niño Hamburguesa, no disrespect, is going to pull in that big rating. Maybe Pimpinella might, but not Niño Hamburguesa. So I don't know on there. I'm hearing WWE is interested in Billy Gunn and Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't know where the contracts are up, Devin. A Powerhouse Hobbs, that'll be an interesting one, because that man, the way he's booked, the way he looks, just think of him going into NXT. If Obafemi somehow keeps the title, and he somehow keeps the NXT title, whatever the case is, and he shows up, boy. But I don't know. Hurt Syndicate is teasing a third member. Everyone associates maybe it's a Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't know. Listen, when it comes to All Elite Wrestling's creative, we never know. Wherever the owner decides to throw the dart on the board is what they're gonna get. Who's gonna be that third member or the fourth member for the Hurt Syndicate? Who knows? I mean, they say they want to get a younger wrestler. I don't know who's up and coming that they want to get there. Powerhouse will be a nice one addition there. I don't know where they go with that. Your thoughts, Billy Gunn. I don't know what's the issue with Triple H, Shawn Michaels. You've got the Road Dogg back, it's not doing a good job as a head writer of SmackDown. SmackDown has been really bad. Lately it's been picking up because of the talents and the John Cena retirement tour. And I gotta be honest with you, I didn't like Sami Zayn, but he's got put on two United States title matches that have been bangers. I gotta give credit where the credit is due. I didn't like the fact that the moment where he took the title, he came over to Raw and he won, and like they're force feeding. But for the last 2 weeks, Sami Zayn has, and you got to put Sami Zayn in the picture because he's the common denominator in both of those. Have had match of the weeks with John Cena and Sami Zayn. That was a banger of a match. And then last week with Rey Fenix, I got to give Sami Zayn his flowers, his credit. What he's done there for SmackDown, he has made SmackDown, at least the matches, quality matches. I got to give him this credit. At the moment when he won it, I did not like it, and I might still not like it. But I got to give the man flowers. We're talking about elevating the mid-card titles. If he could continue to elevate that with another banger against Carmelo Hayes for the United States title coming up this Friday, then we got to say he has put some life, some CPR into that United States title scene. And you got to give him credit. Talk about someone who's going to win the fans over or win, at least me, if he does that to that mid-card title. I got to say that. I'm talking about Andrade with his mask. He could carry it and take it to that to TNA as a mask character. Just an idea. As a mask character, Ruben, anything is possible in La Lucha Libre. Anything is possible, Ruben. I like that. I like your thoughts. Keep it coming. Keep the comments coming. I like the thoughts there. Listen, we all want to see where that man goes. We're getting, Heather says, we're getting Ethan and Lijo, Dr. Wagner Jr. I think we're getting it. It wouldn't surprise me because El Hijo de Dr. Wagner was last night at ringside at Full Sail for the Ethan Page match against Tyler Breeze. And they had a stare off, both men with their titles. Wouldn't be surprised if that's another title for title match up there coming up. That's where, and we'll find out where that goes, guys. I don't know listen, Ethan is gonna run circles around Hijo de Dr. Wagner. I think Hijo de Dr. Wagner, for the matches I've seen from him, 3, there's wrestlers that are a little better than him in AAA. That's just me personally. I think he's a little bit of a stiff. Personally, I think Ethan will run circles around him. It made sense for him to win that Fatal 4-Way to keep his title the way they got to it. But the star of that Fatal 4-Way, of course, was Dragon Lee, Ethan Page, and of course, Grayson Waller did very well in there. Not Grayson Waller. JD McDonough, excuse me, did a hell of a job there. Great. JD McDonough looked it so fucking sharp there. We saw Jordan Devlin finally, the real Jordan Devlin, emerge. Your JD McDonough that you saw in NXT UK was shown that night at Worlds Collide. Dr. Wagner got the victory, but he wasn't really the one. He didn't go over. He got over with the title, but I thought, again, those other wrestlers had a great showing. So if they go one-on-one, I think Ethan runs circles. Bro, Ethan right now is doing his best wrestling work of his career because he's getting TV time. He's getting the reps. See, some of these wrestlers, some of these mid-carders that you want to call, bury them in the mid-card, they need reps. They need time, especially. This is why it frustrates me when it comes, and this all goes together. Is it a gumbo of what's called the WWE? The lack of house shows, and TKO sees it as a money grab. Oh, it doesn't cost us. It doesn't provide us of a profit. We're losing money doing house shows. It's not feasible. But you know what is not? You know what is hurting? The in-ring, the reps, the reps that these wrestlers need in these house shows to try something different, to get over. For the mid-carders. For an Ethan, for Jordan Devlin, aka JD McDonough, for Grayson Waller. Maybe the New Day isn't so bland if they are doing some house shows and trying things that will work with a crowd, won't work with a crowd. Grayson Waller getting more television time. Maybe Austin Theory might have gotten some more wrestling reps. Or even Andrade, put on some bangers. This will look great on television. But if you're only catering to live TV Monday, well, just Raw, SmackDown, and premium live events, and you're gonna top heavy it because you need stars to fill out those arenas because we're charging an astronomical amount of money. What happens to all the wrestlers that are mid card that need the reps to get things over, or the extra television time? They give them 2 minutes and they can't really get anything over because they don't want to mess it up, because it's the only opportunity they're going to have. That's what the house shows. This is where the essence of the house shows are missed. But everyone wants to tell me, no, it's not costing money. Bullshit. You could sell out these arenas with families to go and see these guys. Don't top heavy them. Do these house shows with the mid carders, with the guys that need the reps, the bumps, the guys that are not featured on television, the ladies. Chelsea Green. You don't tell me of a Chelsea Green in the main event in a place in I'm going to use I'm going to use a city that don't get Champaign, Illinois. They go to Chicago all the time. They're not going to go. They're not bringing a Raw SmackDown to Champaign, Illinois. They took, you put a Chelsea Green and a Champaign, Illinois as a main event, taking on, United States, your Julia, who doesn't get that much TV time. You're not going to tell me they're not going to sell out that house show? Nonsense. Along with other wrestlers, or Carmelo Hayes taking on, anyone, Grayson Waller, or any, I'm just throwing spitballing names out there. They will, but they don't want to do house shows. But then when they get on television, their expectations of putting on a 5-star banger. And again, how are these mid-card wrestlers are going to put on a 5-star bangers when you only have your premium live events with 5 matches? This is what WrestlePalooza is this weekend. It's only 5 matches. Every premium live event, other than the WrestleManias or the 2-nighters, are just 5 to 6 matches. And they're always going to be the same victims, the same usual suspects. It's going to be your top heavy Cody, which is your world champion. Now Rollins. Now part-time Roman, when he decides he'll take over that spot there. Jimmy Uso. But meanwhile, on your episodic television, they're also taking up 2 or 3 segments. So how, and then this goes back, everything is a whole tie-in. So how does a guy like Andrade supposed to feel, creatively wise, when he can't even get that opportunity to get out of catering? Because, well, we got to give 3 segments to the 2 division tonight and the main event. That's a tough nut to crack. How is a guy like a Shinsuke Nakamura, who's got a few years left in the tank, why is he not on television? Great worker. But if it was the house shows, you could have had him against Carmelo Hayes. You could have beefed up your mid-card division with these house shows. Maybe they need to do something like that. They need to probably start doing some house shows with your mid-carders and get that buzz going. Get that going. Where people, and look, maybe they're trying something different and we're not seeing it, because over the weekend in South Carolina, this weekend or last weekend, NXT went on the road. They send Rusev down. Do they send certain WWE talents to these NXT shows to work with these talents to get them over? Great idea. In these NXT house shows, NXT is now moving away from running the Florida, what they call the coconut circuit, up and down the Florida. They were in Georgia. They were in the Carolinas. Now they're going to the Ohio Valley region. Do they send WWE wrestlers? Please don't send your top heavy wrestlers, please. They get enough reps, a lot of stuff on television and PLEs. Send the guys and the women that need the reps, like a Michin, like a Selena Vega. Send these women and men that need the reps, the bumps, to try things different, to keep their skill set sharp on these NXT house shows. Then, if you're not going to run WWE house shows and you're going to incorporate NXT talent, then do that. Go ahead and do that. Maybe they won't. Maybe they still run the coconut circuit while doing the NXT on the road, and have selected and top heavy the NXT wrestlers that are going to get, or eyeball of getting called up, and sprinkle some of these mid-card main roster wrestlers to do these NXT house shows and make that work. I don't know. That's just a suggestion, but they need it, because the wrestling product in 2025, There's been plenty of times that we have complained and say this is not good. This has not been good. This has been a little subpar. The television, each week you have and I love Braun Breaker. You know that. Braun is my guy. Brunson Reed, LA Knight, Jey Uso. Different main event. Yeah, it's not Seth, yada, yada, but still the vision. You have like 2 to 3 segments with them. Yeah, they did that in the Attitude Era. Yeah, but they also build the mid-card titles. The mid-card titles are not feeling special. My point. Now you have a speed championship with the women. What happened to the speed men? There was a men speed championship. We're focused on the speed championship tournament. What happened to the men? Which should have been the finals for No Mercy, which we got a couple of weeks here. I thought we were going to get. See, this is the inconsistency with the television product, because it kind of felt like they said F television because we got a Full Sail show that we got to bring back all the nostalgic acts. We need some consistency with the television product to week. I don't know what has gone on with the WWE when it comes to their TV, their direction. I don't know if it's because they're worried about the shareholders making a profit and they're still selling the buildings and arenas. Great. They still keep going. They keep telling you every so often they're going to a different platform. You know, this weekend, you hear people signing up for the ESPN app, you know, the first $30. Let's see how that goes. There's so many changes that WWE keep pushing, and then you throw out that Saudi Arabia, you know, Royal Rumble's going over there, and then now this, and it's becoming a little bit like, how much more are you asking us to bend without breaking or without our assholes being exposed? That's what it feels like with the WWE. What's your thoughts? I don't know. Thank goodness for the TNA invasion angle, but I know I can hear people thinking about it. TNA is going to probably lose all the matches. You know, they're probably going to not beat NXT if they go head to head or whatever the case is in the match. To me, I think all this is for NXT, TNA, where TNA is going to probably get their TV deal, and it looks like it'll probably be the CW network. Because probably next week at the Performance Center, we get an invasion angle. Could we get them coming in and causing that main event, that title for title picture be thrown out, where we get a brouhaha mayhem of the locker rooms spill out and all hell breaks out? Could see that happening at the Performance Center, where that's done on the CW network. Where, guess what? I think TNA might be going. Maybe they'll start in January. TNA will probably be the home of the call CW their home. Could be there. We'll find out. No official word from Carlos Silva and the TNA brand. We'll find out once that comes out. We all know. Look, we all know that TV deal is coming. Maybe that's on Bound for Glory. Maybe that's Bound for Glory. Maybe something along the lines where they cut a promo on Bound for Glory where NXT says you're not welcome here, whatever, after they beat them, or they throw them out and go, we got our own home. I don't know. And they'll probably throw Joe Henry out because Joe Henry seems like he's been a Benedict Cardinal to the NXT to TNA, totally going with them on the road to the European tour. They could play all that. That's all good. That's all angles, guys. It's not that they're really breaking their partnership. They signed a 2-year deal for a partnership, and they're going to work it. They're not dumb. They're trying to put something where it generates buzz for people to watch the TNA product. How do people watch the TNA product? People these days, you could watch it. Access TV, YouTube TV. Everybody got YouTube. Everyone. If a guy go this channel, if a guy from New York City who plays a 10-minute introduction video before he starts, and you all watch in droves, you could watch TNA wrestling. There's no excuse. If you don't watch TNA because you choose not to, there's so many ways of consuming TNA product, TNA Plus app. You can watch it on my playback where we're watching it together. There's so many ways of watching Total Nonstop Action. Is because you choose not to. It's a really good show. And they're showing you that they're going to go on the CW. So I'm excited for TNA where they're going. Personally, I think TNA is continue to grow, continue to break stride. They're selling out the 2 nights in Edmonton. So both nights for Victory Road and their TNA tapings are sold out, near a sellout. Bound for Glory, they're breaking record attendance. They're going to break that Slammiversary attendance record at Bound for Glory, and also those 2 nights. They're coming to a Full Sail in November in Orlando. I believe they're probably having a Thursday night live and probably a Friday pre-elite from Orlando from Full Sail. Now I don't know if that's true or not. I know they're doing 3 days, so it kind of feels like they're going to do the live Thursday show, a Friday show, and they're going to do tapings for the next 2 weeks. It's going to be the Thanksgiving weekend and the following week before they go live into El Paso for TNA Impact Zone. So I think that's what's going to happen. I could be wrong. It could be just Thursday live, and then Friday and Saturday it could be taped for 4 weeks or 3 weeks there before they go live again in El Paso. They'll finish the year out in El Paso, Texas, and then they'll start again. I haven't know their dates where they're opening up the month of January for TNA Impact. So great job there. I'm trying. Hopefully, I'm able to go to those TNA shows, all those 3 days in Orlando and Full Sail. Personally, would love to be there, get to see all the TNA talent. Hopefully, I'm able to go. That's my birthday week, so hopefully, I'm able to go to that. That'll be great. That'll be a gift for myself to be part of the Total Nonstop Action family there. That would be a great one, and probably see Santana holding both titles. That would be a great. But you got Halloween Havoc, so who knows what could happen to Halloween Havoc? But we'll love, personally, in a perfect world, birthday wish will be there. Go to TNA that whole weekend and have Mike Santana hold both titles. It's about time TNA gets some WWE gold. And I think Santana will be the one. But guys, I want to say thank you for this. Appreciate everyone for allowing me to entertain you for a couple of hours, for an hour here. Don't forget, we do all our watch-alongs on Playback app. We, of course, Sports Jedi Network Playback app. I've got 2 channels on the Playback. Major Sports on one, and, of course, everything professional wrestling there. We're going to have WrestlePalooza there on this Saturday. Tomorrow night, we got TNA Impact. We're going to have our TNA Impact review with Chris here on the channel. Immediately after TNA Impact Zone on the Playback, we come on to YouTube. Remember, YouTube will not allow us to show the footage, so what we do is we do our review here at 10:10 tomorrow night on the TNA Impact Zone. Friday Night SmackDown will be again on the Playback with WrestlePalooza. You can watch it with us. You're not just going to see me there looking at a TV screen, forcing a reaction. Not forcing a fake reaction or faking the funk. You're gonna actually see the wrestling while we comment, react, and we have a very interactive chat that we want to continue to make it grow. We want our chat to grow. We invite you to come watch with us. We invite you to join us, be part of our wrestling community, and can help us grow, continue to grow, spread the word. On the Playback app, it's a Playback app. It's totally free. You're not going to cost you anything. It's not free, or it's not where you have to pay. All you got to do is it's like a YouTube app. All you got to do is download the app. You could put it on any of your Apple, Android devices, on your laptop, on your television, and you're able to watch the wrestling with us. It's a great way of another experience of the watch-alongs for all different types. For MLB, you also have MLB. If you want it now, the playoffs are coming out, and other men and women have watching baseball. They got if you want to see the Yankees clinch. I moved away a little bit from the Yankees. We used to cover the Yankees here. We moved away for this season only. You want to watch the Yankees clinch. There's someone doing a watch along. You can see the Yankee games while the guy is doing a watch along. Also, NBA basketball coming up. You got soccer. All these people do different things on the Playback app. And don't forget our sponsor. We want to thank our sponsor tonight, Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes and the Sports Jedi Network, wiping out the competition. Thank you, Dude Wipes. If you can see, I got the wipes behind me where the YouTube free gift is. They send me, of course, the other 2 are in my bathroom. But I got one Dude wipes there to show in the background. They are our sponsor. Thank you, Dude Wipes. Appreciate it. If you want to donate and help the show, you could buy me a cup of coffee there on the QR code. All donations will go great. Especially, I got a son graduating Full Sail University in a couple of weeks. We'll love to offer a gift, and I definitely will love your help contributing into the program. It helps us also grow, helps us go to different venues, because listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, they outpriced me. I'm outpriced, good thing I have media credentials that could go here and there, but it costs to get there. So we'll ask for your donation. Your help could help us get there. Anything, $1, $5. I always say this: a drop at a time will fill a gallon. And I could count, and I hope I could count on you for a couple of drops into the bucket. So with that said, man, thank you so much. Appreciate everyone. Don't forget to follow Chris at PGH Chris TV on X. You can follow me on Sports Jedi Media. You can follow me on Instagram, Sports_Jedi_ Network, as well as PGH Chris TV on Instagram. Don't forget Chef Dan at Dying Breed 18 on X. He has a great review on the football Giants. Week 3 coming up. He's got week 2 thoughts, week 1. Also, my son Austin does the MMA breakdown here on this channel. Everything MMA on the videos. This kid, not because he's my son, but this young man just knows how to break down the fight games very, very well. I love the way, I just love listening to him break down, talk about the UFC. I can't wait when we're able to get us accepted to go to the UFC to interview. We have interviewed UFC fighters in the past, or MMA fighters, not UFC. Can't wait to get our first UFC fighters on to interview with him and him ask these questions about their training. This kid knows from all their gyms, their American top team, Sanford, MMA, all this stuff. I love to listen to him and Chef Dan when they broke it down. And now Austin does this on his solo at times. And I love how he breaks down the MMA fight game. Chef Dan's football knowledge. Chris's Steeler love. He breaks down the Steelers platform here, and he's a big Steeler fan, and his football knowledge is off the chart. And man, I will, and of course, we love to do more. I will just. With the wrestling right now, it's got me tied up. Basketball season, the Knicks season coming up. If you watch my channel, my history of the channel, we've done all the Knicks watch-alongs. Talked about the New York Knicks, football Giants, New York Yankees. My son Austin broke down a great one about Aaron Judge, 4 all-time runs. I know this is a wrestling program, but it's just giving you a little bit of intro about our channel, about us, and we just need to grow. We want female representation on our channel to talk wrestling. We've asked that there, the YouTube platform. We'll love to, after I'm done, a couple ladies come on and have a conversation. We have Canary, but she's going through school and injuries and getting herself together. And we'd love to have some more female hosts that will love to come on and hear your takes and your opinion with professional wrestling. If not, we'll just continue doing what we do. We got our weekly wrestling with Chris P and me. We break down the whole week of wrestling. I just had to talk about this TNA invasion, a little bit of Andrade, because sometimes where you need some time to talk about it. After you wait a whole week, becomes either old news, especially with WrestlePalooza and All Out for AEW this weekend as well. Let's give them their love. They've got a big go home show currently in about 10 minutes, 3-hour Dynamite. So enjoy that. Enjoy the 3-hour Dynamite. I hope that they really give a go-home show where people want to tune in and watch that product. When they thrive and they're doing good, where there's more opportunities for a wrestling company to grow with the performers to get their television time, they won't get frustrated, and we won't be talking negative about the wrestling world and all the performers rather than the ticket. I'd rather talk about the ticket pricing and our pricing than the wrestlers being unhappy and backstage gossip and scuttlebutt. That's just my opinion. But with that said, thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. And guys, have a great night. We'll see you next time. Buenas noches, todo el mundo. Good night.